What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. So, it is Monday, which means I will be answering questions. I've selected my questions, and I'm really glad I started doing this because it makes it easier. It makes my job easy. Instead of coming up with topics myself, I talk about what you guys want me to talk about. So, I'm really glad. And in addition to that, you guys are coming up with great questions. So, let's get right into it. This is going to be a two-part question because it's from the same user. And first part is, what do you think about referee Ramirez's job during the Pac-Algieri fight? Do you think good referees are rare in boxing? And then part B is, what do you think is next for Algieri? Great videos, by the way. Now, the first part of the question, I didn't really like his refereeing job. I thought some of those knockdowns shouldn't have been considered knockdowns, and they were in fact counted against Chris Algieri. That being said, I don't think Chris Algieri lost because of bad refereeing per se. So I don't think it really, even if he didn't have, he still got smoked, whether 6 knockdowns went against him or if just the credible ones went against him. I don't think it really made a difference because he did nothing like offensively to stop Pacquiao, to frustrate or make Pacquiao look bad. So I ultimately, to being told, I don't think it altered the outcome of the fight. Pacquiao was just on a different level and too much for him. Good referees, rare in boxing. I wouldn't say they're rare, but I have seen an emergence of bad refereeing. You know what I'm saying? There were points where Kenny Bayless in the Maidana fight, he broke it up kind of early. Even worse than that, just some of the things like Crawford-George Groves 2, or excuse me, part 1. I thought that was a premature stoppage. And also Diego Chavez versus Brandon Rios. I thought that was piss poor refereeing. He didn't really control the action, which led to a disqualification. Both fighters did dirty things, in my opinion, and it was just an overall bad refereeing job. I think Jack Reese might have been the referee in that one. Part B, what do you think is next for Algieri? I think he really needs to go back to the drawing board, fight somebody who's on a lower level. You know what I mean? I wouldn't immediately go in against a Broner even, or one of the big marquee names. I think Algieri really needs to, you know what I mean, rematch Emmanuel Taylor, who's coming off a loss. A fight like that. It doesn't have to be Taylor per se, but that caliber of opponent, somebody you would consider in the same realm at 140. I don't think he has expressed interest in going up to welterweight. I think he'll get slaughtered at welterweight personally, but I wish him the best, so we'll see. Next question. Do you think Terence Crawford has the boxing IQ and skill to beat Pacquiao at 140? It's a tough question. I want to see how he looks against Ray Beltran, who is an aggressive power puncher and he's tough. So I got to see how he looks out on that fight at 135. But I think skill-wise, he's definitely up there. And I think it's going to take a fighter like Terence Crawford to beat a Pacquiao. Someone who doesn't just wing shots, who's smart, who's calculated, can take a punch, and has good foot movement, good brain, good processing speeds. So Terence Crawford, if he acclimates to 140 and Pacquiao drops down to 140, I think that would be a really good fight. And I think Terence Crawford, depending on, how, like I said, how he looks against Beltran and things like that, I think that could be a very good and competitive fight where I could see Crawford beating Pacquiao at 140 if, again, all things play out well and he acclimates to the weight. It's not an easy job by any means. Pacquiao is Pacquiao, unorthodox, speed, power. But I like how Terence Crawford dealt with Gamboa, who also he's small, a little bit smaller than Pacquiao, but he brings athleticism, speed, power, and it looked like he had a solid chin and everything. So I like that fight if it brews and marinates. Next question. Ego, if Danny Garcia moves up to 147, do you think he will be able to be a title holder? Great videos and keep up the good work. Now, I mean, he's a lineal champion at 140, so I can definitely picture him getting a title at 147. From who? That remains to be seen. 147 is very stacked, so it's a tall order, but I do think Garcia is bigger than a lot of people give him credit for. I've seen him walking around, and he looks like he might be pushing 162 to 165 as his walk-around weight. Terms of his measurements, there might be a little bit problems. He looks kind of like more compact. I don't think he has the longest arms. So welterweight is stacked. I mean, there's a lot of tough guys, but I think there are guys that he could beat. He has to move up in the right fashion and acclimate, keep his confidence high. A lot of people shit on Danny Garcia based on Rod Salka, which was, in my opinion, the worst mismatch of 2014. However, I don't alleviate everything else he's done. I don't take away from his other accomplishments based solely on that until it becomes a pattern. So I definitely can see Garcia becoming a title holder, and there are guys that I would already favor him to beat. Like, you know what I'm saying? I could picture a competitive, good fight with Robert Guerrero, but Guerrero's not the biggest puncher at welterweight, nor is he. I don't know. I can picture Garcia possibly, if he moves up in weight right, I could picture him beating Guerrero like pretty much off the bat, and then moving on to fight better competition. Next question. I have a question. Why aren't pure boxers like Bernard Hopkins and Chris Algieri able to win against guys like Kovalev and Pacquiao? I thought they would pull through it, but I was wrong twice in a row. Those are two different scenarios, so I'm going to break down each. For B-Hop, I think just Father Time, I think he was probably best at middleweight, so his power was really more of a force at middleweight. And preparing, he didn't really fight. I mean, not resume-wise. I'm talking about his most recent, like Murat and Shumanov. Those guys don't really prepare you for a Kovalev, which I told people he's a good boxer with devastating power, and he has amateur experience, and he's tough. He's a tough fighter. So that's why I picked Kovalev to beat Bernard Hopkins, and it turned out to be right. So I think Hopkins, his situation is a little bit different. I think it was a culmination of his age, also just not having the firepower enough to devastate or discourage Kovalev. Kovalev, again, is tough. As far as Chris Algieri, I made a video about this actually last night, and it's Chris Algieri is not a masterclass boxer. So when you say pure boxers, I don't agree with that statement. I don't consider Chris Algieri to be a masterclass boxer or a pure boxer. He's not bad, he's solid, but again, a lot of people picked him based on I don't know what, because he's tall, because he looks swift against a one-dimensional Ruslan Provodnikov. I didn't really rate him high. I wasn't hating on him for getting the opportunity because, I mean, Lord knows anybody would have took 1.5 mil or whatever he got to face Pacquiao. It's an opportunity to further change your life. Even the mil is life-changing. He's never received a payday like that. So I don't blame Chris Algieri for taking the fight, but I knew he was overmatched, and that's kind of what I said in my videos leading up. And I don't consider Chris Algieri to be a masterclass boxer. If you want more on that, check out the video where I break it down and explain why he's not a masterclass boxer, a la Guillermo Rigondeaux, Floyd Mayweather, Edislandi Lara, Willie Pep, Lomachenko, guys like that. Next question. Who do you think Mikey Garcia should fight when he comes back? Wishful thinking, Terence Crawford, if he wins. Wishful thinking, I would like to see Mikey Garcia and Broner, a fight like that. Ultimately, he's been on a long layoff, so I don't really see that. So I think he should just fight a stay busy fight, you know what I mean, a mediocre level opponent that is not going to pose too much trouble just to eliminate any kind of ring rust, and then he should go after the bigger name. So I would just say like a lighter touch opponent at 140, somebody with a respectable resume, probably some losses, and you know what I mean, fight something like that. Like a John Molina Jr. even, you know what I mean, just to make sure he takes a punch, but somebody who shouldn't be too hard to figure out stylistically for him to beat just based on his long layoff. Next question from the same user, so I'll do a part A and B. Do you think 2015 is going to be a good year for boxing? And then part B, do you think Deontay Wilder is the next big thing for boxing? 2015 is really hard for me to tell. 2014 was There was some good fights, but there was a lot of disappointments. James Kirkland pulling out from Gabe Rosado. Canelo was supposed to go back to HBO in December, fight Josh Clottey. Not that I really cared about the Clottey fight, but I did want to see Canelo back on HBO, see how the production was. I wanted to see Triple G in with a better name. There's been a couple disappointments. You know what I mean? Mayweather Pacquiao hasn't happened yet. So hopefully 2015 is a good year for boxing, but it's very premature and very hard to tell at this point. We'll see how we close off 2014. Part B, do you think Deontay Wilder is the next big thing for boxing? I think he possibly could be, but again, that's kind of premature based on he has like 31 wins, all by knockout. That's great. He has tremendous power. He's very athletic. He's a big, sizable guy at heavyweight. I have faith that he can beat guys, but the heavyweight division is more alive than people give credit to, and it'll be interesting. I would love to see Andy Ruiz against Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, Bermane Stavern, the fight that's supposed to happen, Anthony Joshua after he gets a couple more fights, Klitschko. And ultimately, I can't really determine until I see him in there with better competition if he's the next big thing for boxing. I think he has the potential to be, but I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? I've seen him get knocked out in the amateurs. He looks hungry and I got to see how his chin is. I got to see how his stamina is late. Like, to me, the way I judge boxing is based on what you go through. When I see Pacquiao and he goes through adversity, whether it was a cut, I think in the Rios fight, he got cut bad in the Eric Morales fight. Plus, he didn't get to wear the gloves, the Cleto. I like tu Cleto. Like, he didn't get to wear the gloves of his choice based on a last minute promotional issue. And he still had a good fight with Eric Morales. And then it was tough. He lost the fight. He came back and smoked Eric Morales 2 times. Same thing with Mayweather. I've seen Mayweather go in against a guy like Diego Corrales, who people said he had no chance with. He was a knockout artist, and he shut him out. I've seen Mayweather go in against Maidana in the first fight where he was outweighed by 12, 15 pounds, and Maidana is aggressive, good punching power, very solid, like he can crack. And Mayweather battled a bad cut where blood was dripping in his eye, and that's hard because Maidana already throws punches from weird angles, and it's hard to see where they're coming from. So imagine having blood in your eye. So to me, the way I judge boxing, I have to see fighters go through certain trials and tribulations to determine how they're going to look. Even up-and-comer like Vasyl Lomachenko, he was in against Orlando Salido, who didn't make weight and came in exceptionally heavy, and he held his own. He took Salido's best punches and actually had Salido hurt in the 12th round. You know what I'm saying? And then I seen Lomachenko with a mediocre opponent on the Pacquiao undercard, also in against Gary Russell Jr., a guy who had pretty much been offered a chance to go to the Olympics, but he got sick or some shit like that. So I got to see more from any fighter to determine they're the next big thing. So it'll be a matter of time for Deontay Wilder. If I see him in with Bermane Stiverne and he knocks him out easy work, then yeah, he definitely can be. But I got to see him in with that level of competition. And then the final question, what exactly is Mayweather training when on mitts with Roger? Is it working on speed, on combinations? I can't figure out the benefit and purpose of it. This is my opinion. I mean, I'm not in the Mayweather camp, so I don't know for a fact. This is what I see. I think it has a lot to do with hand and eye coordination and timing, and then also with speed. When you're running drills like that, I think a lot of people underestimate the power of hand and eye coordination. Mayweather is a fighter who has amazing reflexes. So when he's in the fight and it looks like he's almost in the Matrix, he's just seen every punch beforehand. I think this mitt work is helping because it helps him work on his speed, his upper body movement, and his hand and eye coordination. So he can almost see the punches, like he can see from subtle movements when Canelo goes to throw, because Canelo's slower than him. He could see those like small nuances or whatever you want to call it and avoid that danger. You know what I'm saying? Like Maidana, I've seen him land crazy punches. Like on Broner, he was landing crazy. And then against Floyd Mayweather, he wasn't landing the same. He landed some, but he threw a lot and missed a lot, especially in the first fight. He did land in the second fight at the end of the 3rd round, but shit happens. It's boxing. You're gonna take a punch regardless. So I think more or less when he's doing mitts with Roger, it's working on just a variety of things, mostly hand and eye coordination, his speed, and ultimately getting that timing. Mayweather's a very defensive fighter, and he just wants to make sure he's elusive. And like you never really see, even Mayweather complained about, he said he was stiff in the Maidana fight, and he still moves with more fluidity than other fighters. You know what I'm saying? So he, in his mind, he said he was dry and stiff. He's still moving and still more elusive and crafty and slippery than other fighters are in their best performance. You know what I'm saying? So I think Mayweather works a lot on his defense and just overall being crafty and elusive, slipping, rolling with punches, and that kind of stuff, the shoulder roll, all that kind of stuff. So I think that's what it really helps to do with Roger. You know what I mean? Practice makes permanent. Some people say practice makes perfect. I say practice makes permanent. And by that, I mean by running those drills, it gets your body loose and used to throwing punches. That's why you ever see Mayweather when he's on the punching bag, and some people, like idiots, leave comments like, oh, he's barely moving the heavy bag. It's not about moving the heavy bag. It's to get, especially his age, he's getting older, it's to get you used to throwing a certain volume of punches. Because when you do certain things, that's like if I have ankle weights and I'm on a treadmill and they're like 5-pound weights on each leg, that's 10 pounds. So if I can run with 10 pounds holding me down, when I take that off, it's going to be even easier because I'm used to doing this with ankle weights on. You know what I'm saying? So when he's throwing 1,000 punches and they're like kind of pity pat punches on a heavy bag, it's to get your body loose and to get you to get accustomed. And your body has muscle memory, and it'll give your body that muscle memory and get you used to throwing 1,000 punches. Or when he's doing the mitts with Roger, it gets him used to making those moves second nature, those elusive moves, the pivoting, the twisting, the bending, the everything you're seeing him do in the fight. That's what he translates into the actual fight, what he's doing in the mitts. So that wraps up the questionnaire, Q&A, Ego Monday, mail days. Let me know what you guys think. I will post next Sunday, and leave me your other future questions. That's really all I got to say. Make sure you like my video. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.